Hello, everyone, and welcome to A New Direction. My name is Jay Izzo, and we have another great show for you. He comes back. What was it? Was it Jack Nicholson? I can't remember the movie. He's back. Yes, Daniel Den is back with us. His book, Ideas, and fantastic book. Hold it. We're going to cut right here. We're going to take two. Just a second.
Take two. Let's do it.
Take two. I forgot to bring the book out. All right.
And what about the mug?
Try this again.
And the box and
oh yeah, I got the box.
And the challenge coin.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, I'm messing.
I got the coin already. Here, hold on. I got the box right there.
You know, one of my things about the box, just random side note.
Yeah.
The box doesn't really fit like in a normal way on a bookshelf. And so you can't ignore it. So that's kind of the beauty behind the box.
You can't.
It's like this book. Dan Kennedy told me about this book in one of his trainings. This is what High Point University sends out to parents that are interested in paying $100,000 in tuition every single year. And the book does not fit. Like, it will not fit on my bookshelf.
No,
it has to be outside or like put in a weird way because it's an odd shape. And this, they would send that out for years, and that's how they would get more and more parents to pay $100,000 per year tuition.
And by the way, this thing is ridiculous. I find myself playing with it during the shows. I have
nice.
I find myself playing with it.
Yep. I do the same thing.
I have it. And
in fact, so I have one outside of the case, but yeah.
I play with it all the time here.
By design, like more by design than you think.
There's Daniel. The more I learn about you, the more and read about you, the more I go, all this is so freaking intentional. And I keep going. Guy's real intentional. Okay, let's try this again.
Well, thank you, Jay. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no, I love you doing that. Okay, all right. So, ideas that influence, take two. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome to A New Direction. My name is Jay Izzo, and we have an outstanding show for you today. I don't rememremember the Jack Nicholson movie, but I do remember the face, and he goes, "He's back." Yes, Daniel Den, co-author of the book, Ideas That Influence, the proven step-by-step process for promoting the perfect marketing message to your most profitable audiences. Say that 3 times real fast.
Ooh, yeah.
He'll probably get you a book. He'll probably do that. The book is fantastic. It's outstanding. It's so good. In fact, we got so bogged down in the first 7 chapters. There is so much more to the ideas that influence and the marketing message that you're creating for your company. And what happens to me when I read these books, especially when I read it now for a 3rd or 4th time, I start to realize that when you start looking at the ideas that Daniel and Pedro Saperti, by the way, who's the co-author of this book, are putting forward, the one thing I keep thinking in my head is you're probably leaving profits on the table because your marketing message is wrong. And the other thing is, and Daniel likes to, they refer to it in the book as your microphone message. You know, how amplified is the message that you're getting out? And we're going to dig into your marketing message a little bit more. Daniel, who is an expert in this area, is going to help us help you refine your message, make it clear, and you know what? Maybe get a little more profit out of what marketing messages you're doing for your company or business. So before we get to him, though, let's do what we do every week, right? 4-part people: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual people. Fact of the matter is nothing stays static. If we're not growing, we're dying. It's just the truth. You've got to be working on these areas of your life every day in some way. So here's how we do it. We have you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being, can't get any worse, 10 being, can't get any better, 5 being average. So like, let's take the physical area, which is the easiest. If you were to rate yourself on eating right, getting enough sleep, getting enough exercise, drinking enough water, getting your checkups, scale of 1 to 10, how would you say you're doing? Now, listen, whatever that number is, don't get alarmed if you're a 2. We're not trying to go from a 2 to a 10. A 2 doesn't mean that you're awful. A 2 just means that that's where we're going to start to build from. Okay. Today's a new day. Tomorrow's a new day. And so if we're a 2 today, can we do some things today that maybe get us to a 2.25 or 2.5, right? It's about progress. And I think, Daniel, one of the things about this book and Ideas That Influence is it's about progress. You're not going to carve out the perfect microphone message day one. It's just not going to happen. But you're going to tweak it, and you're going to get more amplified, and that message is going to grow. And same thing is true in all these areas. So whatever that number is, that's your first number. Okay, that's your physical number. Second number is your mental intellectual number. Look, you can't be a couch potato and absorb information, expect to grow in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You need to be an active participant in your mental intellectual growth. You need to grow in wisdom and knowledge of what you do and the world around you. Great way to do that. Read a book. This is a pretty good one. If you want to read a book, there's other things you can do though too. We're right brain, left brain people. Learn a foreign language, right? Especially for those of us who live in the United States, we're so monolingual. We know one language, no English, right? But I love studying foreign languages, and I'm studying a couple different ones right now. And I have to tell you, it's a mind-opening experience. Taking up an instrument, something else that you can do to really grow yourself and your brain. But I do think reading is so powerful and can just do so much for your intellectual growth. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you say you're doing? All right. Second number. Third number is the emotional number. And listen, Dr. Daniel Goleman has written tons of work on emotional quotients, emotional intelligence. And by the way, Daniel Den, who's going to be joining us, is going to talk about emotions as it applies to your microphone message, because it's really, really important. But we break it down real simply when it comes to your emotions. One is, how well are you able to control your emotions under stress, pressure, right, and threat, right? And then the other one is, how well are you able to tap into and understand the emotions of others? Now, both of those are extremely important to Ideas That Influence, and I'll explain why. One is, if you're not under any sort of emotional control, it's going to be very difficult to carve out a message for yourself and your company, because you're too emotionally invested and are not standing away from it because you want to make it about you, right? And it shouldn't be about you. Secondly, if you're not able to tap into the emotions of your potential consumer or customer, you're not going to have the right message. So both of those are really, really critical. But we're talking about everyday life. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you think you're doing emotionally? Okay. That's the 3 numbers. Fourth number is spiritual. Fact of the matter is, we're all spiritual. Remove the physical, mental, emotional. What you have left is the spiritual. We all connect spiritually. Matter of fact, it's really hard to create a microphone message that doesn't have some sort of spiritual component, that doesn't connect with the consumer. It's soul to soul. It's heart to heart. And that goes way beyond the physical, mental, emotional. There's something that we connect there on a much deeper level. And we all live by faith. We really do. You push a button in your car, you believe it's going to start. You drink your coffee or water like Daniel's doing, he believes it's not going to be poisonous. We walk across the street, it says walk. We believe the cars aren't going to hit us. We make plans for the future, believing that they're going to happen. We literally live by faith, and that's a spiritual concept. And then it comes down to, in the middle of your chaos, what gives you peace and joy? Is it God? Is it nature? Is it meditation? Is it something else? And is it working? So on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your spiritual area? And those areas are like the air in the tires of your car. If your one tire is low, right, it's really hard to drive the car. But if all 4 tires are low, you're going to ruin the car over time. So what we want to do is bring our tires up to the right level, and so that the car runs well. Speaking of somebody who does that outstandingly, his name is Daniel Den. He became fascinated with marketing and sales almost 2 decades ago. I don't know how, because he looks like he's 12. Today, he is the co-creator of the X Factor Effect methodology, where he and his team have helped over 20,000 students and clients grow their businesses. Daniel teaches that different is the new better. We're going to talk about that today. And his framework includes 9 pillars for differentiating your business so that you can become a market leader or category king. For several years, Daniel traveled the world full-time with his wife and 4 children, which is really hard to do, by the way. They continue to travel often, but they live in Florida now. Daniel then is the author of this new book, Ideas That Influence, and that was built to help business owners discover their own wildly successful marketing ideas. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to A New Direction, Daniel Den. Welcome back, Daniel.
Hey, Coach Jay Izzo, thank you so much.
All right.
I'm excited to be here. Now, I have to say, I can't be 12 because I have a 17-year-old.
No, but you look
The math doesn't math if I'm only 12.
I know it doesn't, but you look so stinking young. That's the problem, is that you look so young. It's just, it's hard. I look at you, people don't know that we're looking at each other face to face. Of course, we record this for TV, and everybody watching DBTV, thank you. But I look at you and I go, my gosh, he's so young. And then he tells me he's got a 17-year-old. I'm like, how does he do 2 decades when you look like you're 12? I don't even get it.
I used to, when I would go down to Vegas, I would get carded all the time. If I was just sitting, chilling, at the blackjack table, they'd be like, they would look at me.
I'd card you.
All right, let's see an ID, sir. At the time, the last time I got carded in Vegas, I was probably like 32. Now I'm 41. So anyway,
I'd card you. I'd still card you.
At 41, no, I've got some gray. I've got some gray going on.
I would. Oh, you know what? Listen, I used to. I've seen young people use a little gray to try to get back.
There you go.
To get through there.
There we go. That's
I would do that. We covered 7 chapters last time. We were in the first 7 chapters. We kind of breezed through them in an hour, but I felt like we need to bring you back because I felt like we didn't do you justice because of chapter 8. And chapter 8 seems to be the linchpin for me anyway, that kind of holds things together, because you created this X Factor methodology. And chapter 8 is entitled The X Factor Effect. So maybe instead of me talking about the research that Peter Field has done, perhaps it would be better for you to kind of help us understand what the X Factor is and what some of that research has demonstrated. So what is the X Factor Effect?
Right. The X Factor Effect, it's all about that thing that stands out. We love to start with stories. So let's start with a story we'll use for the sake of today, because it's such a cool story. Let's talk about Lego. So
Legos.
Let's talk about Legos. The multi-billion-dollar toy company, which, if you haven't figured it out yet, is the most successful toy company in the world of all time. The one that has sold the most is Lego. Now, the story behind it is that during a business trip to England in 1954, Ole Christiansen, his son Gottfried, he was speaking to the head of a large shopping center. And the head of that large shopping center, he knew a lot about toy sales. And he revealed the secret that led us to Lego eventually. The secret was that shopping center head, the manager of that shopping center, said that the problem with toys in general is that there weren't any toys on the market based off of a system. What he was saying was that everything was a one-off. There wasn't things that worked together. And that was the light bulb moment. So Gottfried said, aha, we need to create a system around toys. And they were able to do that through Lego. So they made the Lego system of play, where if I buy one Lego set today, that Lego set seamlessly can connect and work with all other Legos that I buy in the future. And since Lego was founded, that has been the case. Those Lego pieces still fit together today in 2024. Amazing, right? Now, why did this work so well? Why was Lego a smash hit? It was different because it was a system, but it was also different because it encouraged kids and families based off of STEM concepts, which is science, technology, engineering, and math. All other toys before Lego seemed to be just that, toys. It lacked purpose. So not only was this a system of play, but it also was based off of STEM skills. It helped, it was purposeful. Okay. And so Lego, with their marketing message, they reinforce this same message today that, Lego, it's not just Legos. Like, it helps with STEM. In fact, so I homeschool with my wife. She gets the credit. And we have what you would call like a homeschool scholarship. And under that scholarship, we can basically get access to lots of really different cool learning mechanisms for our kids because of the scholarship. And one of the things that's approved for purchase is Legos. It's just 100%. All right, if you have a kid that wants to learn more about whatever, you can have it be part of their class, and you can buy all the Legos you want. And they absolutely love it. So they have a really big, massive bag of Legos. But the whole point of Lego and why it broke through the noise so well was because it was something that was different in a way that the dream customers loved. The dream customers were who? The kids and their parents. The parents got behind Lego for obvious purposes.
Right.
And it was sticky and a product that wasn't a one-off. If I buy Legos today, then I'm probably buying Legos a few months from now, and a few months from now, and a few months from now, because
from a few years. Yeah.
Yes. It's not something that's just a one-off. And so that's why Lego broke through the noise as the world's most popular toy company ever, of all time. And some people, getting into the Peter Field study. So some people, when we were talking about this pre-show, as you know, Coach Jay, lots of people attribute luck in 2024 to anybody that, breaks through the noise and has a successful business. From the outsider's view, a lot of times it's viewed as luck. So it's really easy to look at Lego and say, well, they got lucky. Okay. They got lucky. They created this smash hit called Lego and they got lucky. Not so fast. Okay. So there's a study by Peter Field. And that study basically says that the creative approach to business and marketing is about 6 times more effective at eating up market share. What this means is, if in my business, if I mimic, if I copy, I'm a copycat competitor. If I fall into that trap like so many of us do, of being a copycat competitor that's copying the same products and services and offers as everybody else and doing the same marketing and sales, doing things the exact same way as everybody else. So if I am a copycat competitor, then I fall into the sea of sameness and get mediocre results just like everybody else. But if I dare to be different, if I take the creative approach to marketing, if I have an X factor in some way, shape, or form that makes me different, where I can stand out from the crowd, according to this study by Peter Fields, on average, you're 6 times more effective at eating up market share, which means what? That the riskier approach, in fact, is to do more of the same. And the less risky approach is to, in fact, do something different. That should be an aha moment, mic drop, where we can just stop here and you guys go and you go start doing things differently.
Yeah, well, it should be. So I want to dig into this a little bit more, because a question popped up in my head, as often does as you're talking, and that is it that the marketing should be different, or is there something that we're doing that's different? Are we talking about the marketing message itself?
Well, for Lego, the marketing message was inherently differentiated because the product was differentiated.
Right.
So this is where we have crossover. Now, when it comes to the X factor effect methodology and everything that we teach, which is outside the scope of everything we teach inside of Ideas That Influence, there's crossover, but it's bigger than the book. The book is all about your marketing message. The X factor effect methodology is about your entire business, and we help people become market leaders and category kings. So in the case of Lego, because they had a differentiated product, they inherently had marketing ideas that was differentiated as well. Nobody had commercials like them when they started launching commercials. Nobody had a system of play like they had, and it was really easy for them to have a differentiated marketing message that parents could get behind because of the product. And so the answer to that is a lot of the times. So if you hire me for your marketing, okay, let's say we're doing one-on-one consultation, okay? And you've hired me for a year. We're going to meet, 4 times a month for a year. And we're at the end of this year, we're going to have a few home runs. That's the goal. All right. So you've hired me. Now, when it comes to marketing, I have to look at what your products or services are. And if your products and services and all of your offers, if they are also caught up in the sea of sameness, I am going to have a problem marketing. And so one of my first tweaks would be, Coach Jay, everybody else and their dog is selling the exact same thing as you. And when everybody looks exactly the same, it is just begging for price wars to happen. If I'm selling yellow bananas and you're selling yellow bananas, Coach Jay, they're the same bananas, then we're going to run into pricing issues more than likely, right? Price wars. Because if it's not me or you that starts competing on price, somebody down the street that's also selling yellow bananas is going to start competing on price. And so we need to reposition your product or service or create new offers that set it apart from the crowd so that can translate over into the marketing.
Yeah, I think this is interesting because there's a little bit of chicken and egg thing for me here. One of them is, okay, sure, I could build something that's really unique, which is going to make my marketing message unique. But there are a lot of people who are in the same industry competing against each other. And so is it something that I do that makes me unique, or do I create a unique marketing message that makes me unique to everyone else? Because I'm just thinking about what you're writing here, and I see it 2 ways. I mean, I do see it that, okay, the Lego model is great because they were able to create something new, and therefore their marketing message was going to be new because it was going to do something that nobody else had ever done. But if you're in an industry where, let's take, real estate, for instance, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, every real estate agent, every real estate company does pretty much the same thing. They help people sell or buy houses, right? They pretty much do. So do I create a marketing message that's unique? Is there something, there's really, how different are you really? When it comes to that, we could put anything. We could put financial planners, we could put insurance companies, life insurance, health insurance, jewelers. It doesn't matter. Is there something unique about us, which I don't know that there really is, or is it the message that we got to make unique, or is it a combination?
Yeah. So I don't know if you've heard of, I have a perfect example of this.
Sure.
So,
okay. Yeah.
So with real estate specifically, because you were like, all right, so real estate, everybody's,
Right.
selling houses. And so sometimes, and this is, we've had to deal with this with real estate agents, like when point this out, like, hey, like, if your differentiating factor, if the way you're saying that you're unique is that, instead of 6 points, you are 5 points, or instead of 5 points, you're 4 points commission,
Okay.
then you have a problem, right?
Right. So if it comes down to some sort of percentage, right?
Yeah. That's
That's
what we're talking about when we're talking about price wars.
right.
And so there's lots of different ways to differentiate yourself as a real estate agent, even though at the end of the day, you're selling homes. So the mechanics of selling homes, the paperwork, everything, that's all the same. But when it comes to how we position ourselves in the marketplace and how we do our marketing, we can do things a lot differently. One of my favorite examples comes from Craig Proctor. Now he's big into coaching,
Yep,
and one of his USPs that just like put him on the map was his guaranteed seller program.
Right.
Where if he agreed to sell your home, that he would agree to sell it in a certain number of days. And if it did not sell within that amount of days, he would buy it himself.
Right.
Now that is a differentiated marketing offer right there.
Sure.
And who has the courage to do that type of offer? So that's one aspect. We can differentiate and translate that over into our marketing. The offer. That's kind of like what Lego did. They had a different type of offer. They had a system of play. The offering was different. Other ways when it comes to real estate. I know she actually bought Ideas That Influence. She lives out of Michigan.
Shameless plug for the book. We will just do. Before you tell the story, let's do this. Let's do a quick commercial break.
All right.
And then let's come back and we're going to talk about applying this X factor. And I have a lot of real estate people listen to the show, so this is going to be perfect.
All right.
And we're going to do this. So we're going to talk about folks and how to differentiate yourself with your X factor. So we're going to do that right after you listen to Daniel Den, by the way. Ideas That Influence, right here on A New Direction. Hey, folks, Epic Physical Therapy, whether you're recovering from surgery, injury, maybe you're suffering everyday aches and pains, maybe you're a professional athlete or an athlete that just wants to move and feel better. Listen, they will customize a treatment program just for you. So, and it's going to be yours alone. So when you're ready for your epic relief, epic recovery, epic results, don't look any further. Go to epicpt.com. That's EPICPT.com. And then Linda Craft Team Realtors, more than 39 years, top of the game, helping people transition in life. And you go, oh, I thought to do real estate. Well, no, wait, think about it. You know, every place you've ever lived has been a transition in your life, and they know how to take the stress out of that part of your transition. They've been doing it successfully 39 years, helping thousands of people all over the world. They can help you. So why not take advantage of the stress relievers? They call themselves Linda Craft Team Realtors. It's lindacraft.com, LINDACRAFT.com. And we're back here on A New Direction with my friend Daniel Den. His book, Ideas That Influence, the proven step-by-step process for promoting the perfect marketing message to your most profitable audiences. And we're about to dive into a real estate example here that Daniel has in terms of the X factor that you're going to develop. But this is going to apply to anybody who's doing, who's in a marketplace where you've got a lot of competitors are doing the same thing that you're doing. So Daniel, take us into this marketing example, and it's one of your people who purchased the book, and also this. I should point out that there's this whole box set called Ideas That Influence too, as well, that comes complete with stories and examples and so much more inside the box. I'll show it here to the audience.
That's differentiated right there.
Yeah, that's differentiating right there. Don't get that every day. So go ahead, Daniel. Go ahead and let's take us through, help people through the X factor when it comes to this real estate company.
Yeah. So the whole point of this is so we're going super high level strategic now, because we're like going deeper into the X factor effect methodology that I even go into Ideas That Influence. So there's lots of ways to stand out inside of your niche market. And then that translates over to the marketing side. Now, specifically, Patty, she's out of Michigan, and she was already doing this before she bought ideas that influence. And then she pointed it out after the fact. She was like, this is what I'm doing. And I'm like, that is incredible. That is so cool. That's one of the reasons why you are a great real estate agent and why you have so many people that buy with you. And what she does is well, as part of her messaging, she has this really unique messaging where she is the real estate agent. She's 65 years old, and she tailors to people who she calls the sandwich generation. If you haven't heard of the sandwich generation, it's because this is her way of talking about baby boomers like her. Baby boomers like her are in what she calls a sandwich generation, where unfortunately, a lot of them, they are stuck in between generations where they are still helping some of their parents that are still alive. And they have all of these responsibilities to their older parents. But at the same time, Patty, 65, she also is sandwiched in between other generations because she has her children, which she still, helps out at times. And then her children have grandchildren. So she's literally sandwiched in between multiple generations and has all of these responsibilities. And when these baby boomers need to sell or need to buy, she understands their unique situations. And so all day, every day, part of her marketing message, part of the way she talks to her dream customer, which is people like her, is to talk about the sandwich generation and how she, as a real estate agent, can help navigate all the difficulties of being part of a sandwich generation. How cool, unique, and differentiated is that?
Yeah, so it's the message then that gets so differentiated there.
Yes.
That's really cool, because what we're saying here, what you're saying, I'm not saying anything. I'm just hosting a show.
Oh, we're saying it. We're saying it.
What you're saying here is that you can create a unique message, microphone message, and be very different than what's out there. And that different microphone message can be an X factor.
Yes.
And this is where later in the chapter you say something here. I don't think we think about it this way, but you say, show your audience something unexpected. And then you talk about like own a word or phrase, create a fresh approach. And then I guess the word or phrase for Patty is sandwich generation.
Yes.
Right? That's the word or phrase that she owns, right? The fresh approach is what Lego did, right? They took a fresh approach to toy making.
Yes.
Right. So that's kind of the unexpected. I guess the unexpected piece is that you're not thinking as somebody's going to purchase real estate, right? Sandwich generation. That just doesn't make sense, right? But it's unexpected and it kind of intriguing. Lego decided to make it a science project that could be not just fun, but educational.
Yeah.
Right. It's not just a fun toy. We can actually teach the STEM, right, with it. So yeah, this is good. What would you add about helping people understanding to create their X factor? Would you add something to that?
Well, I have a million things I could add because this is everything that we talked about for the past 12 years. Like we have 9 main pillars on doing this. What I'll add is if it's not inherently obvious, with the interactive book box experience that you get for free, with the book that you get for free if you just pay shipping and handling, I said, you know what? Am I going to launch a book just like everybody else, or am I going to do something different? And the vehicle of differentiation that I chose was experience, because I said, I'm going to create this unique experience that nobody has ever seen. I'm going to vet it with my dream customer before I actually do it, because, it's not cheap to do something like this.
No, it's not.
But I'm going to ask, I'm going to say, if I did this for a marketing book, like, what are your thoughts? And then just everybody's like, this is the coolest thing ever. And so I had faith to move forward. You talked about faith and spirituality in the beginning. And so that was my vehicle, creating a unique experience. Well, same thing for the real estate agent. If that's the vehicle that you're going to choose, or one of the ways that you're going to be different, because you don't have to just stick with one. We actually encourage people to stack their differences that make a difference. I was invited multiple times to go watch brand new blockbuster movies for free by different real estate agents. Has anybody, raise your hand if you're listening? Keep your eyes on the road if you're raising your hand. If you also have been invited to, at any point in your life over the past couple decades, to a real estate agent's private viewing of a blockbuster movie inside of a theater. It's
Sure.
happened to me more than one time.
I've seen mortgage lenders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why do they do that? Well, this is their way of, yes, it's expensive. If you do the math, okay, $15 a head times, 300 seats, if they fill the theater, right? Do the math on that, it gets expensive. But at the end of the day, before the movie starts, they're standing up and they're talking about their services for 5 or 10 minutes. And they're reminding everybody, hey, I'd love to work with you if you're looking to sell, if you're looking to buy, whatever it is. And if they get just one person out of those 300 people that came to that viewing,
right,
and most of the people in there, they already know who this person is, because you don't just get random invites from these real estate agents.
Right.
Somebody that you've had contact with in some way, shape, or form.
Sure.
If he only makes one extra sale, then it's worth it. But I've heard people talk about that this is the type of thing they do. Now, it's not always a movie theater viewing, but I've seen people do it multiple times a year and then throw other parties as well. It works. That's their vehicle for keeping the lead machine going, and they're just constantly networking with their list of 1,000 to 5,000 individuals, and then they're just inviting them to these viewings and these parties. And when it's time to buy, well, hey, this is the guy that he gave me a bunch of free tickets to some really cool Marvel movies. So I guess I do owe it to him to use him as his real estate agent, right?
No, it does. It goes back to the principle of reciprocity, which we understand in psychology. The experiments that have been done on this have been absolutely mind blowing. People, giving away $1 Coke and to people versus not giving them $1 Coke and then asking them to buy a $5 ticket to a charity event, right? So they'll give away these $1 Cokes, and then they'll ask, "Hey, would you mind buying, these tickets to to this thing later on?" And the people who get the free Coke will buy 10 times the amount.
Yeah.
Right. So they'll buy 2 at $5 versus the 1 Coke they got. The people who didn't get any free Coke don't buy at all. Right. Yeah. It's very interesting, the principle of reciprocity and how it works.
Predictably irrational.
Yes. My friend, Dr. Dan Arrowley here at Duke University, who wrote that book. Absolutely fabulous.
Your friend, you're like buddy with him? I'm
not real close to him, but we're connected. Yeah. He's very
nice,
cool,
dude.
Very cool dude. I really like Dan. He's a really great guy, Dr. Dan. So Dr. Dan, if you're watching, listening, you know what? Shout out to you, man, because you do some great work. Chapter 9, reverse engineer the realm of rejection. Really, really interesting work here. Again, you get into some research. You talk about there have been multiple experiments that show that there is a big difference between what people say they do and then what they actually do. Right. And you talk about the realm of rejection is an area you need to avoid or intelligently navigate when sharing your microphone message. Your message, and this is what you say, your message enters this realm of rejection when negative aspects of your marketing cause too many of the right people to ignore or entirely reject your message. Okay, what's gone wrong? How do we fix it if we want to reverse engineer the realm of rejection?
Yeah, I mean, the easiest way to paint the picture. That was That was some alliteration mouthful.
That's awesome. That's great.
To paint the picture. All right. So after years of this political divide, I'm like, okay, I'm independent. All right. So I understand this really well. When it comes to the right versus the left, it's all over the place. Let's just be honest.
Sure.
Now this political divide, it's repugnant on both sides. But if we are going to step back and be honest with ourselves,
sure,
it's nasty. This is a nasty fight going on.
Yeah, it is. And
so what happens is, if you are a white, if you're a right versus left mentality, if that's how you are fighting to get the attention of others, you have to move people step by step. And what you ultimately want is, and Republicans and Democrats understand this, the real fight is for the independents, because somebody who's diehard Republican just will not vote.
Right. If you're ingrained, you're not changing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And the same, if I'm diehard Democratic Party, I am not voting for anybody in the Republican Party. Sure. That's the diehards. The diehards, that's not where the fight is. The only way to get the diehard to eventually vote on the other side is to move them along a path. And we have a little fun little image inside of the book where it represents this. And so the great thing about if it's right versus left is that it becomes super clear if you understand things on the marketing side, that the fight is for the middle, because somebody in the middle, like me, I know that I don't want to vote for Biden, and I know that I don't want to vote for Trump, but I know that I'm throwing my vote away if I don't vote for one of them.
Right.
So I'm literally who the fight is for. Right. And I am still not decided on who I want to vote for. I thought I was decided, and then some really bad things happened over in the Middle East, and now I'm undecided again. So there you go. Right. I'm in the middle again. My vote is the fight. The fight is for me, and I'm going to just take one step to the left or one step to the right in 2024. Daniel Den is going to take one little step to the left and one little step to the right. When things are right and left, you have to understand that you sitting down and talking to somebody who's a diehard, the most you're going to be able to do is take them from diehard to moderate, the most. So I can get a diehard Republican in 2024 to go from diehard Republican to moderate Republican. That's how far I can get them to go by sitting down with them.
So you talk about three different strategies. One is lead with relationship, show social proof, and then choose your believer scale approach. And it sounds like you're talking a lot about strategy 3, show your believer scale approach. What is the lead with relationship and the social proof approach strategies?
Yes, 100%. Thank you. So quickly explain the lead with relationship approach is it's all based off of the fact that people buy from people who they know, like, and trust. So I did a fun little social experiment where I went to Vegas and I tried to give away $10 bills. And during that experiment, I actually failed at giving away $10 bills. I went to the bank, took out 100 $10 bills. So I was more than ready to give away $1,000. Every single time somebody rejected my offer of $10 for free, I pocketed it. I was like, nope, I'm going to talk to 100 people. I'm going to see how many say yes. And I was in a black shirt. I wasn't in my Rainmaker shirt. I was in a normal black shirt. I did my hair. I looked like a normal white dude that didn't look like I was out trying to scam anybody.
Right.
Okay. That was what I was going for. I was middle of the ground, normal looking white dude in a black shirt and shorts. And so my approach was simple. I said, hey, I'm giving away $10 bills. Would you like a $10 bill? and I would, say it like as calm and non-threatening, and I would hand out the $10 bill. And the answer to how many I gave away is a whopping 6. Only 6 people out of 100 took my $10 bill.
Wow.
Which was just mind-blowing until you understand that I lacked relationship 100%.
Right.
A white guy giving away $10 bills on the Las Vegas Strip is not somebody who's necessarily supposed to be there.
Right.
I am not part of the Las Vegas Strip. It looks like I'm trying to sell something. It looks like I'm up to something. Now, I tried the best to not look like it. I was genuinely giving away $10 bills.
Right.
And I had people look me straight in the face and they wanted to take it. I had people, they were that close, Coach Jay. They wanted that $10 bill. But then they looked at me and they were like, really? What's the catch? And I would say, there is no catch. I'm just giving away $10 bills. And I still had people not take my $10 bill. They said, no, I'm not going to take it. And then my favorite interaction was when a wife of a husband, after he was so close to taking it and says no, she says, and I hear them as they're walking away. She says, he almost tricked you.
Oh gosh. Isn't that great?
There was no trick. Now, why did I fail at giving away $10 bills? Because people did not know, like, and trust me. So the first way to overcome the realm of rejection is to lead with relationship. Take people from not knowing you or liking you or trusting you to at least knowing you a little bit or liking you a little bit and trusting you a little bit. Once you do that, then you enter into a realm where it's much easier to get yeses. Because if I was part of the Las Vegas Strip, if I had, let's say, a booth that said, Las Vegas Strip approved, line up, we actually are giving away $10 bills, and it looks like I'm supposed to be there on the Las Vegas Strip. Yeah, I'm going to have a line. Like, I'm going to look like I'm supposed to be there, and then we're going to work. So that's the first one. Okay,
so hold on before we do this, because what we need to do is we need to build a little know, like, and trust with our sponsors real quick here. So hold on here. Let me do it. You're listening to Daniel Dan, Ideas That Influence, the proven step-by-step process for promoting the perfect marketing message to your most profitable audiences. You're listening to him here on A New Direction. Hey, folks, Epic Physical Therapy, my physical therapist. I think they should be yours too, by the way. Listen, they offer the most advanced top-of-the-line equipment, the Ultra G anti-gravity treadmill, the Normatec compression sleeves. My favorite, Game Ready, ice and compression all-in-one. That's my favorite. Listen, they're trained and certified in the most comprehensive cutting-edge treatments available, like blood flow restriction therapy, dry needling, cupping, and that's just a few. Ready for your epic relief? You ready for your epic recovery? You ready for your epic results? Then don't look any further. Go to Epic PT. It's EPICPT.com. Linda Craft Team Realtors. Listen, more than 39 years, clients call them the legends of customer service. Why they're the legends of customer service? Her first clients from 1985 still show up today, right? And why? Because they said, we know what we're getting. We know the consistency. We know her attention to detail. We know that when she is going to work with us, we know that we're going to get the excellence. And that's why they call them the legends of customer service. So you listen, when you want excellence and you want attention to detail, you know that you go nowhere else. You go to Linda Craft Team Realtors, lindacraft.com, LINDACRAFT.com. And we're back here on A New Direction with my friend Daniel Dan, book, Ideas That Influence, covering a couple chapters here. Hopefully we'll get to the next one. We talk about strategies lead with relationships. Strategy 2, social proof. You say the trick is to quickly discover which style of your post quickly receives enough engagement, leaves room for rejection, while also getting your audience to make the desired actions. Social proof can help us avoid the realm of rejection. How?
Yeah, it's one of those psychological triggers that's, if we're going back to Robert Cialdini, like social proof, right? It's, I know. We can't ignore it. So on social media, if we have a post that doesn't get likes and shares and comments, it makes for a really bad ad.
Right.
But once it gets a few likes, comments, and shares, the ad starts to perform much better. One of my favorite stories from Brian Tracy, who wrote The Psychology of Sales,
Mm-hmm.
he talks about the fact that when he was a rock star sales guy, he eventually got to the point where his entire sales presentation was to bring a big fat stack of testimonials. And that was his sales presentation. The customer would ask a question, and then he would turn to the right testimonial where the customer revealed the answer to that customer with whatever doubt the customer had or objection the customer had. He would just turn to the right testimonial and have them read that. And that ended up being his winning sales process, just using a big binder of testimonials. And it's just, and he would sell like crazy. It was undeniable. So that's a quick way to overcome the realm of rejection. If I would have caught fire, if people would have started to take my $10 bills enough, then, and if word would have started to spread, hey, there's a guy giving away $10 bills, I would have been out of $10 bills. I didn't get to that point. There was too much rejection. People that actually took my $10 bill, lots of them walked away in disbelief.
Right. Jump into chapter 10. Welcome to the business of emotional reactions. You open up with Dr. Christoph Morin and Patrick Renvaux. The persuasion quote, they wrote this book, The Persuasion Quote, How Neuromarketing Can Help You Persuade Anyone, Anywhere, Anytime. Couple things that you point out here. The more visual the ad, the more effective. To close the deal, you need your message to do two things, is what you say. Provide emotional positive uplift, and the message must be contrastable.
Yes.
And I want you to talk about those, but then I want us to get into these 4 approaches, the happy 4 strategy, humorous approach, the inspirational approach, the exciting approach, and the heartwarming approach. Just briefly, let's talk about, to close the deal, let's talk about emotional reactions in our microphone message, providing the emotional positive uplift, and message must be contrastable.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. So the basis of all this is, have you ever seen an ad go viral that wasn't emotional in some way? The answer should be no.
I'm trying to think if I can come up with an exception. I was trying to come up with an exception, Daniel, and I couldn't come up with an exception. Okay, I turned away from you because I'm like, is there an exception to that? I get it. Okay, no. Okay, you're right. Move on.
It's I haven't found one. If it's out there, please share it with me.
Yeah, you're right.
Just DM me. Messages that go viral, they always evoke emotion in some way, shape, or form. So when it comes to the right type of emotion that generates sales, though, there's actually emotions that don't generate sales. For example, sadness is an emotion, as we're all too familiar with. Sad things don't get shared as much. They get high view. So sad messages can have really high consumption rates. Like you can sit there and watch like all 10 minutes of the video about how sad, something is. Right. And then we actually don't end up, even though we consume the whole video, lots of times we don't share sad messages. And then sad messages also don't usually get us to buy something. Sometimes they do, but a lot of times
it's pretty rare, because I'm thinking about my own emotions when I see something sad on TV. Sometimes what they do is, the animal stuff, right? The SPCA will do something and they'll talk about these animals, and they'll show these horrible images of these poor animals that have been, right? It doesn't make me want to actually do anything. It actually makes me cringe. Yeah. And where I'm frozen, I'm paralyzed to do anything. Right? If there was a heartwarming story where you took the dog, right, that was miserable, and they get to the home and there's this little kid who all of a sudden, their day gets made of having this puppy, and this puppy, all of a sudden, comes to life again after a miserable existence. Well, okay, then I'm going, yeah, I want to be part of that, but not just straight sadness.
Yeah, exactly. So the positive emotional uplift, that's why we talk about the happy force strategy. If you want a message that actually sells also, because most of us are trying to sell stuff, right? Or that gets shared. Maybe you just want your message to go viral. So the 4 ways to make that happen: the humorous approach, the inspirational approach, the exciting approach, and the heartwarming approach. Those are 4 great ways to provide positive emotional uplift with your marketing message. Those generally are the types of messages that will also lead to calls to action actually being fulfilled. Like, people will click, people will buy, people will do the stuff that you want them to do if you provide that positive emotional uplift.
Okay, this is interesting, Daniel, because I know a lot of marketing messages that don't fit into these 4, and they're awful. Right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I can name you several humorous commercials right now. Right. I mean, Geico does a great job with humor, by the way.
Yeah.
But Progressive has done a great job with flow.
Yeah.
Right. And humor. Right. They've had a lot of fun with that. But you remember, right? And then there's the inspirational approach, right? You know what?
Dove.
Right. Very inspirational. What they're doing with Caitlin Clark, right?
Yep.
Very inspirational, right? And you can even move into the exciting approach with Caitlin, but Red Bull does a great job with excitement, right? They're funny, but they're exciting. They kind of combined it a little bit, right? Because they're kind of cute and funny, at the same time. I think that's kind of, and the Snicker bar commercial, which are hilarious, don't be a diva, right?
Yeah.
And right, funny, but there's a little inspiration attached to that, right? That whole thing. And then of course this heartwarming approach. State Farm you use as an example here. How much of this is personality driven, and how much of it is? I mean, do you need to have all these in your arsenal at one point or another in your marketing message?
Well, personality driven. I mean, now we're going in the realm of, are you the attractive character that's the face of your marketing? If you are, let's just be honest, if you are the engineer mind, dull, boring, monotone, lecture hall type presenter, you need to find your Steve Jobs.
Right.
And we cover that in the book as well.
Right.
So down in Brazil, just, anecdotal. I say that backwards all the time. Anecdotally, Pedro and I, we both were good on camera and good for our ads. But for every dollar that we spent on Daniel ads, we would get about $3 back, which is great. Absolutely great. But then we would put $1 into Pedro ads, and he's the native Brazilian and has an amazing story. And he would get about $4 back. At the end of the day, it was just our time, effort, and energy. It made more sense to put more money into Pedro ads than Daniel ads, even though Daniel ads were wildly successful as well. And so that's when it comes to your messaging. If you need to hire an actor off of Fiverr to put some energy into your ads, do it. Sometimes they'll do your ad for you for $100, which is a smoking deal if you're going to double your conversion rate.
Right. Absolutely. We've run out of time. We've done over an hour. Not counting people don't know this, but we're not counting the time that we spent before the show, and also we had to do a retake. This has been awesome, man. I've really enjoyed this. I could bring you back and just talk about this stuff, for hours endlessly. Maybe what we'll do is we'll have you come back again and talk about another couple chapters, which will take us an hour. Tell people how to get a hold of you, the book, the box set. Go ahead.
Thank you, Jay Izzo. You're amazing. I appreciate you. So the best way to get the ball rolling and enter the Daniel Din world and everything, ideas that influence, and the X Factor effect methodology, so that you too can have your wildly successful marketing campaigns working like gangbusters. Just go to bigideasbox.com, and well, I mentioned it earlier. It's free. You just put in your shipping address, and I want to ship that out to you for free. What? You just pay shipping and handling, and you get the book and you get the box experience. You even get this really cool Rainmaker mug. Woo! Let's go. And the challenge coin, you get all of it. Bigideasbox.com. You can't go wrong. Just pay shipping and handling. That's my favorite way in 2024 to kick off the relationship with you.
That's awesome. Daniel, stay with me. Thank you so much. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, you know what? This is a show. You know, I say to you every week, you control of three things: your attitude, your effort, and your resiliency. Fact of the matter is, I know circumstances can be tough, but you are in control of your attitude. It's a choice. You can't choose your circumstances, but you can choose how you respond to it. Make that choice. And you know what? Fact of the matter is, your effort is tied to your excellence. And only you decide how excellent you will be today. Choose your excellence. And then we all get punched in the gut or knocked in the teeth. It's up to you to get back up. And that's your resiliency. Choose those three. Make it your goal that you're going to have a better attitude. You're going to be more excellent, and you're just going to get back up and keep going. Because I know if you do that, things will change for you. We're going to be back next week with another great guest, another great book. It's going to be another great show. As I say to you this, it's, you know what, you have a lot of choices. You chose us. Thank you so much. I am so grateful that you did choose us. Give us a positive review wherever you're listening or watching the show. And you know what, you're on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. That would be awesome too. As I say to you all over the world, you know what that is.